here's something that really, boy, these guys about to go off. I'm gonna bring something up, and I promise you it's not a spoiler, but if you walk away with anything from this review, you need to know this to prepare yourself. And I'm not gonna spoil anything. Double Toasted's 11th year anniversary party is coming up. Join us for a full weekend of live music, shows, comedy, after parties, a movie screening, and more. Get your tickets by going to dtanniversary.eventbrite.com and use the QR code right there to take you to the site and get your tickets today. And I'll be back at the Broadway Comedy Club June 27th for my own style of sit-down comedy. You'll also be doing some open mic. So get your tickets now by going to doubletoastedny.com. Use that QR code right there. Or you can go to doubletoasted.com. It seems just like yesterday. Crazy ass people running through the streets of London, losing their goddamn minds.
Yeah.
Tearing the city up.
Brexit.
Before Brexit, there was 28 days later. All these people running around, tearing shit up. Yeah. They had the rage.
The rage.
Yeah, folks. Oh, remember.
You mad, bro?
I remember it just like yesterday. Actually, I kind of do. 28 Days Later is a great film. We just did a review on it, retro review.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah, and I remember looking at it and saying, this movie is so great that I don't even know if I want them to continue because this movie is almost perfect to me. But as they do with anything that makes money,
they don't listen.
They got to go back. Yeah, and we are definitely going back to see what's up with the rage virus and those who have to live with it now.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like COVID for us. we just learned to deal with it.
Sure.
Worked around it. But it is 28 years later now. In the UK, well, they still have the rage virus there, but now, they've learned to get along with it. We're going to be over here rebuilding. You keep your angry ass over there.
Right.
Yeah, we'll just, and everybody will be fine. And that's what happened here. The world, or at least this part of the world, has evolved. And now we're going to go back to see how much it has evolved. We have Jamie and his son, Spike, over here. And one of the rituals is that you take your son out on Kill a Zombie Day.
Right. I train your dragon or some shit.
Yeah.
It's your bar mitzvah to prove you're a man.
Exactly. Yeah, how to train your zombie. And he goes out there, he injures a zombie and finds out that it's actually not that bad and tells the village we need to become friends with them and work together. Oh, wait a minute, that's the dragon movie. Sorry. I was getting mixed up. Sorry.
I can see how you made that mistake.
Yeah, excuse me. No. Yeah, you take your kid out to make their first kill. But that is just the beginning of what we're learning with this new culture. Where do we go in this world? Where do we go with these characters? And better yet, where we do go, is it any good? Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer. We've all seen it. Let's watch it again for 28 years later, and we'll be back with our reviews. God damn. you know that shit is horrifying when you don't turn and run.
Sure.
Hey, you're traumatized.
Yeah, you just sit there talking about, golly.
Oh shit, I'm next.
Moving up and down again. Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah. So at what point do they release the glitter and the fog hits the floor?
Yeah, we out there with blankets. Moving up and down again. Man, yeah. Get lit.
Rock and roll, baby.
Yeah. Some things I like about this, I've enjoyed how things have evolved. I enjoyed how things evolved not only with this world, but I enjoy how things have evolved with technology. Now, if you know the first movie was shot on, as we said with our last review, the retro review, primitive technology now. It was shot on one of the first, at least what you would call consumer-ready digital cameras. It was shot on I believe a Canon, what they call Canon XL1. What I'm saying is that you can look at the original, see how grainy it is.
Yeah.
And Like I said, it looks like they blew up a small thumbnail video to a large screen, and
and that's remastered.
Yeah, exactly. Just ain't no way around it. AI said, I can't do nothing with this shit.
Can't process.
Yeah. But that look, we talk about this movie so great because that look fit the chaos and confusion of that movie, the dirtiness of that movie. And this movie here, as you can see, it's a lot cleaner. Now, they've taken advantage of technology again. They've done things with iPhone cameras now. But shit, iPhone cameras are
better than a lot of expensive cameras.
Yeah, man, they are actually making movies on iPhone cameras now. One day we're going to have nothing but movies that are made on cameras this small probably, all rigged out. But that works for this film. It looks definitely a lot cleaner, but that works because the world has adapted. And so even though the trailer looks very terrifying, chaotic, things have calmed down a little bit. People have learned to live with the infected. They've learned to rebuild. They're cut off from the rest of the world, but they're like, hey, we're cool. We'll make it. We'll get by. And I like that the movie now is a little more. It's not as grainy as it was before, because some people probably thinking like, oh, you're not going to be able to create a sequel to a movie that's done that. That's lightning in a bottle. No, it fits what they've done here.
Yeah.
And I think the community in this, I like how the world has evolved within this community of this film. They've adapted around the infection, and like I said, they're being quarantined, but like the way they develop their own rituals, the rites of passage. I like that boys are taken out for their first kill, and to show you how much they've adapted. I mean, what used to be terrifying before, it's like just the father and son work day now.
Right. Just taking them hunting.
Yeah, because they say, look, if you go out there and you go about break a leg or something, don't expect nobody to come looking for you.
Mm-hmm. Don't come back.
Yeah. Well, you try to make it back. We are not going after there out there to find you.
Once you walk onto that mainland, there's no rescues.
So, the opening of this movie, it centers on that. It centers on Jake and his son Spike. Of course, Jake being played by Craven the Hunter over here, so he's in good hands.
I was like, when's he going to start running like a cheetah?
He ain't got nothing to worry about. That'll be back. No, that's and the boy is Alfie Williams. So, when the opening centers on them, it's well shot, it's well acted. They set up an emotional story with Spike and his mother. What's his mother's name that played?
Jodie Comer.
Yeah, she in that movie, The Bike Riders. Yeah, that's so. They set up this emotional story with her. She's very sick. We don't know why at that moment. The infected have evolved. They're no longer mindless. They actually work in packs now, herds. And,
they got leaders.
Yeah, they have a variety. Some out there some look like crackheads.
Yeah, others are bloated and they just kind of crawl like giant babies.
And then and then they got some big old swole ass infected that are called the alphas. And the bloated ones they crawl on their bellies and they eat worms. So the world is more fleshed out.
No pun intended.
But no, again.
You did it.
God damn it. Y'all gonna make me mad. But I would say that, and hear me out, I would say that this part, it starts to feel too familiar because you journey across this apocalyptic wasteland, this apocalyptic world. These people adapting to a zombie infection and it's taken over by nature. And what does that sound like to a lot of people out there? It sounds like The Last of Us in a way.
Yeah.
And it's a combination of The Last of Us along with, you have this other thing, a father guiding his son through this harsh world, taking care of him. It feels like The Road a little bit. So,
I got a vibe from, what's the one with John Krasinski?
The Quiet Place.
Quiet Place, yeah.
Yeah, you can put that in there too. So what I'm saying is that while it's very well done, it starts to feel a little bit overfamiliar to me. It still delivers on an adventure. It still delivers on action. bloody kills, narrow escapes. It's paced well. You know, it gradually pieces together the story. You know, you feel like a tourist in this world, just learning what's going on. But since it did feel familiar to me, I desired a little bit more. And as I thought about it and the movie went on, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I see what y'all doing. You're trying to mess with my mind. I see what you're doing. You know, this movie right here, it wants you to think that you see Aaron Taylor Johnson. Mm-hmm. Aaron Taylor Johnson's a star now. Craven the Hunter, talking about him being James Bond. It's like, well, of course he's going to be the main star of the movie. Mm-hmm. Halfway through the movie, Aaron Taylor Johnson's out.
Hell yeah, you're going to do something else.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, boy, you go out there next time by yourself. I got something to do.
I'll be back though.
Yeah, he let us, he was the MacGuffin. He led us to the MacGuffin. Yeah, it goofed my ass. Yeah, it led us to believe that he was the main story. And then I realized that the first 30 minutes of this story is just setup for the main story that happens. Because we shift from Jamie to Spike and his mother. And I'm not going to tell you too much about what's happening here, but all of a sudden, it goes from this kind of familiar thing that we've seen before, which is still good, we've seen it. All of a sudden, it turns into a coming-of-age story. And, you know, with Spike stepping up to the real test of maturity. All that shit he was doing with his dad out there, that was nothing compared to what he actually has volunteered to do right after that setup that we have. And from there, it's a completely different story that I loved, absolutely loved in parts. Not all the way, but in parts. I loved it. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But, you know, go ahead. You got something to add to this?
Oh, no. Well, it's a thing Danny Boyle has done with a lot of his movies. You know, when you start with the original 28 Days Later, it's all about the last of humanity and surviving this apocalypse and how can we get through with each other, only to shrink down to like, well, no, it's about toxic masculinity in the end. With Sunshine, it's a sci-fi survival movie that goes like, no, it's really about a slasher. Millions, it's a kind of a sweet drama, almost romantic, and then no, it's a crime movie. So him switching gears is something he's done. I'm not even naming all the movies. So yeah, it switches from the father-son to being about Spike and getting out in the world, and then it goes to some other places. So, you know, switching gears is not anything new for Danny Boyle. And it's an interesting way to mix things up. I'm not thrilled with most of the results of it, but hey, A for effort.
But once again, Martin is angry and grumpy. Don't like. No, I'm joking. Because we're different here again. No. I know about this kid over here.
Yeah, no, it's just so much what you watch is you're like,
I'll take you hunting, boy.
You're like, okay, but you know, it's a little art. You know, it's like a art zombie movie, which you don't expect, especially watching the trailer, and then it dips sometimes into being not just an art movie, but an artsy movie. And there's things that happen that leave you kind of scratching your head. Actually, a lot of things. And sometimes it's beautiful. And then sometimes it's pretty silly.
So I do agree. And you probably need to know this because they're putting this out in the mainstream. Because in the beginning, you know, there's a lot. You have to remember when 28 Days Later came out, it was also a smaller release.
Mm-hmm.
No, it didn't have the big release that, and wasn't, people didn't expect it to be the classic that it is today, probably. But yeah, you know, there's like a lot of crazy editing in the beginning.
Yeah. I was like, man, we dogged on the Karate Kid movie for doing it, and this movie does it just as much, if not more. But because he's an auteur, he gets
away with it. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I don't think it's wrong, and I think the Karate Kid movie, and I'm not going to compare that. I think the editing was bad. I think this is just a stylistic choice. Now, whether people like it or not,
you see what I'm saying?
Well, no, getting away with it. Well, no, because I'm not saying. I mean, it depends on who you are. I mean, I'm not defending it. I'm not tearing it apart. If you don't like it, I understand why. But you know, I don't think what he did was terrible. It's just not for everybody. I don't think it was bad.
That's fair.
You know? I got that it's like a style choice, but I was like watching it. It just felt so unnecessary watching it. I'm just like the way some of these scenes were edited and like put together. I was like, You ain't had to do it like that.
It got kind of repetitive too. That was
like,
what was bugging
every
me
time
about
they would
it.
kill a zombie, or infected, it would be always the same way edited.
I could see it getting repetitive, but I don't think it was necessarily. Was it right? Was it wrong? No, it's just a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
Like there's bad editing, terrible editing, and it's not terrible. It's just style, and style is opinion. But with that story, I think I think you can get past a lot of style if you have some real substance there. And I think that, once we get to Spike's story, I think it's a beautiful story about a boy, his love for his mother, and the risk that he goes out for. Listen, it's still gory. It's way gorier than 28 Days Later. We talked about how that movie's not as gory as you think it is. It's bloody, yeah, but it's not as many, organs and intestines and stuff like that. It's not as graphic as you think. This is very graphic, extremely graphic. Even the deep, beautiful moments are disturbing. There's a moment in here where they're walking around with a dude's head. And it gets to a point they start talking nicely about this dude like his body's still attached.
Yeah.
Like he's still here.
Yeah, like he's still there. And what they do with that head later probably is more disturbing. But it's almost treated as a philosophical politeness here. It's like it's nothing. And I think that was cool because it's kind of like that's the world that these people have grown into. I think the reason why I really enjoyed this is because I'm bringing up all the gore, the horror, and all that kind of stuff. It's there. But the drama is the real focus here in the movie. I think it's a sweet message about love at the end of this movie. It's almost like watching a dark Pixar movie at the end, the way he's talking about it. And I just enjoyed the performances in this. So that kid.
That kid acted really good.
Yeah, he's good.
Alfie, I think his name is Alfie Williams.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alfie Williams is great. You got to keep in mind, this kid has to carry this movie against experienced actors.
Right.
We're talking about, of course, Craven, whatever his name is.
Aaron Taylor
Johnson. But also in the movie, veteran actor, Ray Fiennes, Ralph Fiennes, whatever you want to call him. It's this kid he carries the movie against these people. And I didn't even like him that much in the beginning. I was like, quit being a bitch.
There you go again.
No, I know, and I'm being rough. I know I'm being rough.
You're just as bad as his dad.
I am, man. Just go out there and kill some zombies. I don't care if you're down 12 years old. Take your ass out there. But the reason why I like that is because it gave more impact to his transformation later when he actually has to, step up. I like that with this kid. They established that the UK is the only infected area. They even, for those of you who are questioning part 2 of 28 weeks later, they get that out the way real quick.
Right.
The rest of the world said, we handle our shit.
But y'all over there.
I don't know what you punk ass did, but we took care. Wow, they took over the UK. Man, we stopped this shit in 5 minutes. What are you talking about? Wow, okay. But I think they got a lot of good humor out of that, especially with this character named Eric. I don't know if that was him at the beginning of the trailer here, but they got this one. This might be him. It's dark. They got this one soldier named Eric, who's from the outside world, and the information that he brings in, the contrast between what's going on out there and what's going on this island, and some people not even knowing what the rest of the world's like. I thought that made for some really funny moments in the film. Man, I've been running my mouth. What do you think?
Well, it's funny. I just saw the 28 Days Later, just last week. So
Yes, sir.
I knew nothing about this whole franchise until last week.
Mhm.
So I saw 28 Days Later, and I was like, I'm really digging this. You know what I'm saying? It reminds me, like I said, of The Last of Us, especially the best parts of the human parts.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, I'm super excited to see this one. And I felt like I was a little underwhelmed watching it. There's some things that they do really great in this, and then there's just some editing choices, like I said earlier, where I was just like, I'm not really digging this. I get it, but it's just like that's your style, but I'm just like, this is just kind of becoming too much, and I feel unnecessary. But I'll tell you, the kid actor, say his name one more time.
Alfie Williams.
Alfie Williams, man, he steps up in ways that I didn't think he would. He has some really good comedic timing.
Mhm.
I would say, there's a part with him and another soldier. What's that soldier's name?
Eric. The one I just mentioned?
No, that wasn't him though. That wasn't him.
I just said it might not be.
Oh yeah, I don't know what's him. He was like blonde hair.
How you know that kid's not blonde? He had a helmet on.
No, but that was later on.
Oh, you're talking about right here?
No.
God damn it, Toki.
Keep going.
The two of you, Jesus.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. But like even scenes like that were like really done well. But I just felt like at the end of the day, it's a little underwhelming a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, this movie's way different than the first.
I feel like maybe if this would have came out like 5 years after the last one, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad. But like this being like 20 years, I'm expecting like a huge like masterpiece, and that's just what I didn't get.
Yeah, maybe it's about expectations. I don't know. I mean, I can definitely see people. Not being into it. I mean, because it's just too much to compare to the first one. And the first one's is a very, very you're hitting a high mark trying to go with that.
Yeah, but outside of not comparing to having the expectation from the first one, there's expectations set up from the trailer that aren't here.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I can only speak for myself.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I still liked it, but didn't love it.
You didn't love it? Okay. I mean, well, whether I liked it or loved it, I'll tell you in a little bit. What?
Okay, go ahead.
What do you mean?
It's just odd you'd be talking and say, I'll tell you in a little bit.
Because I got some things to say.
Okay.
You were grumpy today, man.
I'm not grumpy.
You know what? You need to eat.
I know.
You know what, Mark?
See, that was the thing. His whole like, I'll tell you a little bit. I was like, yeah, what's up?
Mark, you know, I got a refrigerator full of Factor down there. Man, go grab one. Man, get yourself something to eat. Come back up here.
Yeah, no, get in the microwave and then throw it in your face.
That's why these guys don't like nothing. They're hangry. They need you not only need a meal, you need a healthy meal. You need it quick.
I did.
So what's wrong with you? We'll get another one.
I just had some Factor.
What you said earlier, you said, man, it's so good, I'll get another one.
No, yeah, it was good. It was amazing.
Yeah. You know what? That's the thing, man. When you are hangry, you need your food now. You're trying to get something healthy. It's not easy. It's usually fast food or something out of a can. But that's not what you get with Factor right here. Factor meals, they arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle, which is why I got it, because I stay very busy and I want to eat right. And they have 45 weekly menu options that you can pick from their gourmet meals that fit your summer gains and goals. They have nutrition. It's not just dinners. They got breakfast. They got snacks. And all of it's meant to keep you healthy. So, not healthy. Yeah, people. So listen. Summer is here. Get healthy. Get in shape. And Factors that'll help you. And I'm here to help you with this code. If you get started at factormeals.com/toasted50 off. And you use that code Toasted50 off, you'll get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. I want to thank Factor for keeping me healthy and fed. I want to thank them for sponsoring this portion of the show. And I want to thank all of you for your support out there. As I was saying, whether I love it or just liked it, Martin, I got some other things to tell you. That's why I'm not telling you yet.
Okay.
I knew that ad was coming. When the court get to repeat.
Yeah, exactly. When he's just kind of hovering in limbo.
He's trying to figure out how to put it in.
But I meant what I said. So I don't know. Now, see, again, I can see people seeing different things with this movie. Because I don't think it's as depressing as 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later was, and even that had its, oh my God, it's scary as hell, depressing. I want to kill myself after watching this. It's depressing. It's very dark. It's almost oppressive. But this one, I think, has more of an action adventurous feel to it. It's still a horror movie. There's still a lot of things that are going on there that might be, slightly depressing, especially when you get later on to the film. It's not depressing because of horror things, though. Again, because of the drama that we have here. But this one's more of an adventure quest, especially that now that people have adapted and now that we have a clear direction of where we're going. It's a quest, we're going for a some mission we set up for our characters right here. I mean, I don't know. Do you think that's the case, or do you find it's just as depressing as the first?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I suppose the first one was more depressing in as much as it felt more real, more relatable to what we have going on. This is further removed but I also felt emotionally removed because throughout everything that's happening, a lot of the characters very often would do things that I thought were counterintuitive or not reacting the way people would. It was like basically plot holes that were going through it. And it would always stop me when I go, wait, what? This is what you, okay, shouldn't you have a different reaction to that?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw everything that was. I felt like I saw everything they were trying to do. But again, I think you're going to get. You see how we're all talking right here. I think you're going to get people who are going to be split on this film. One thing you do need to know before you go see it: a lot of zombie dick, a lot of zombie titties.
Boy, that's right in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Like, yo, hey.
Boy, they got more infected dick here than a Memphis whorehouse, man. It's just
And they just standing there too.
And they just
standing there. Hey,
it makes.
There's no shame in their game.
Yeah, they
chop it.
You could tell those clothes stayed on as long as they could because they still some just wearing a little bit of a sleeve and all this kind of stuff. But just to let you know, yeah, it's a lot of nudity in the movie, and a lot of it is rotting flesh or infected flesh.
Zombie nudity.
Yeah, but no, very much so. It's all prosthetics though, because I was reading about this. Like, but you bring that real dick around this little boy, that'll get you in trouble. You cannot, you can't bring naked genitalia around a kid.
Yeah.
An adult, adult naked genitalia. So yeah, it's all prosthetics, but it is, and it makes sense to me. It's like it's 28 years later. These creatures now have been out there wearing clothes as long as they can, and now it's ripping off. Also, the infected evolution is kind of wild. And again, I see where people could probably drop off or not.
Yeah, that's me.
Because look, before it was more grounded. People became feral animals, and then they kind of died off quickly. Here, shit, this is like steroids. That's why they so mad.
Right.
It's like a video game.
Yeah. And I'm like, what are y'all eating?
Yeah, because they get, they swole. I mean, they got roid rage. And like they have super strength.
Yeah.
They got super speed.
Yeah.
They run on top of water. Now I would say, if you want to say that that's a little silly, I get that. I completely understand that. Also,
kind of Last of Us video game-ish too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Video
exactly.
game.
Yeah.
Like a boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, I do agree with y'all because I wasn't arguing with y'all earlier. I do believe that the editing can be crazy for some people. I just think that I don't think it's bad editing. I just think it's a stylistic thing, but I don't think it's for everybody. There's a lot of zombies taking it to the head and freeze frame.
Like wraps around,
cutting to old footage. Cutting to stuff that looks like came from an Ingmar Bergman film.
Okay, now I forgot about that. Why the hell you stopped this movie to show Robin Hood? Something or whatever.
Yeah, and when I talk about repetitive, it's like, okay, doing it a couple times, but it kept coming back. And like, I get it.
Again, I think that's why I liked the movie better after the first 30 minutes because that was gone when they did that.
Yeah.
Now, here's something that really, boy, these guys about to go off. I'm gonna bring something up, and I promise you it's not a spoiler, but if you walk away with anything from this review, you need to know this to prepare yourself. And I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I'm gonna say that, and this is probably, I can't wait to read what people say after this weekend about this film.
I know where you're going.
When it comes to the ending
of
the movie. The ending of the movie, it turned into a different movie.
Right.
I was like,
okay.
Boy, and I'm not ruining anything, but if at the end of the movie, Pete, we're talking about the sequel to 28 years later, this oppressive, dark, stylistic drama of a horror film. And then in the last 5 minutes, Power Rangers pop out. That's all I'll say.
Like the tone was kind of all over the place.
And boy, it happened so fast.
You'll get whiplash.
Right. It happened so fast. I didn't even think it was a movie anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a commercial.
Yeah.
I thought they were about to sell me something. I thought it was one of those like those Super Bowl commercials. Where they trick you thinking it's one thing.
Yeah.
And it ends up being completely something else. And I got your ass by the soda. I thought it was something like that. Listen, I understand what they were doing. They're about to do a trilogy.
Right.
Yeah, that's what
And I think that they're passing off this movie to something that might be a different tone. I don't think it bothered me that much because I see where it's going. But let's just say that I probably would have done it that way because it's too abrupt. You know, I think it was it's going to jar people. It's going to come out and knock the shit out of you. It's like it was almost like they were shooting a movie, and these damn people from these people just got out of a bar, just crashed. It's like some drunk people,
some hooligans.
Yeah, some drunk people just crashed the set.
Some of your friends.
And the director, shut the like you.
No, that wasn't me. That's your friend.
What you talking about? You my friends at the bar? You talking about you at the domain every weekend?
Ain't me.
Yeah, that's you. You were with them jumping in there. It was like they were filming and some drunk people from the bar just ran over and crashed the set, and the director said, "This is cool, keep going."
Yeah.
And they just came in there and started tearing shit up. It's a totally different movie at the end, but they did kind of set up for it. They didn't set up for the tone change.
No.
But you know, listen, it's gonna bother some people, and it clearly bothered these guys, and I don't blame them. It didn't bother me as much as it did them, but I understand. I get it. I understand.
I saw it as like they had kind of like wrote out everything, like where they wanted this to go, and they were like, okay, I guess we can kind of start it right here, I guess. But
what's that?
like in the end, like how the tone had changed. Yeah. I guess they were like, all right, I guess we can kind of start it right here so people can kind of get used to what's about to happen next.
Yeah,
but I felt like it'd been better if that was maybe a post-credit scene or something.
Yeah.
Instead of just the ending of the movie.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. That would have worked better as a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
No,
I kept thinking it was, and I missed something.
I really don't. Yeah, I don't. Again, you know, you do what you want to. That's your movie. I think it jars people a little bit, but whatever. But anyway, I clearly liked it better than these two guys. But I don't know. You go ahead.
Yeah. Listen. You brought some good things about it, and you're right, and especially Alfie Williams. He carries the movie, has a great performance, and if there's a reason to watch it and stick with it, it's him. Everything else is too inconsistent, or it's one thing and then it's something else. Okay, you're making a trilogy, but I think even in making a trilogy, you kind of owe it to yourself to make each part have a beginning, middle, and end. And to end on a cliffhanger, like, well, to get the story, watch the next one.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that's not how you do that. You give us one really good movie with all the parts that we're like excited, like, ooh, I can't wait to see what happens next. Not well, if that's where this is going, I don't want any part of this now. Even when it gets to the part that's probably the biggest standout, the part that's beautiful, there's even some things about it where I'm going like, okay, but with more time, let's see where this goes. Well, too bad, because we're moving on to the next thing. It's the kind of thing where, listen, I get that if you saw, 28 days later and you have expectations, especially Julian saying it's been 22 years, I want something big. But even if not, just even rewatching that trailer, I was like, this trailer is selling a different movie. It does not tell you that it's an arts movie. If you saw that trailer and that trailer got you hyped up, the movie in your mind, you'd probably like better than this one. I can't predict how everybody's going to feel. I was, back and forth on it, mostly in the negative, there's just kind of middle. That ending was like, you. How dare you do this at this point? I was willing to just leave and say, hey, let's just shake on it. But it was like, man, this is a rental, just almost a low rental for me.
Well, I'm not gonna go as low as Martin, but I'll just tell you guys, I had fun about 2/3 of the movie. You know what I'm saying? I thought they had a really good story up until a certain point, and I can't say at a certain point because something happens with a character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when something happens to a particular character, I think the movie kind of falls off. But yeah, my biggest complaints are the editing. The editing is just weird. I get it. It's a style. You know what I'm saying? It's a choice. But for me, after like the third or fourth time of them doing it, I was kind of like, all right, like you, it's getting repetitive. And I was like, it just feels unnecessary to me. But I think I was probably gonna give this like a matinee, but then that ending happened, and it was a character I was looking forward to too. I'm not gonna say his name. I ain't gonna say his name, even though people know he's in the movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, where the hell is he? I was like, oh, there he is in the last 5 goddamn minutes. But that ending was just so like what was that? Like, I know the whole movie is kind of just weird, but like, why did y'all have to throw that weirdness in the movie? I'll probably go with a high rental.
Yeah, I think, again, you hear the opinions here, and these are elements that will either bother you a lot, or they'll be small things to you, and you'll like other parts of the movie a lot more. That part at the ending happens so quick that, I mean, let's just say I was watching this at home, I could cut it off.
Yeah, that's what I wish I would have done.
Yeah, right. But I can cut it off. It's 5 minutes of a film that I could, at the end, that I can cut off, even mentally watching it. Some people can't, and I understand that. That's why I say it's going to bother some people more. But some of the small things like editing, things like that, that's fine if it bothers other people. But the story in this, as I said, that story between Spike and his mother, the journey they take together. There's so many other good scenes in there.
Yeah.
I haven't really, Ray Fiennes. I'm not going to say too much about his character, but I think he does. When he comes in, the movie even takes a more emotional turn. And he gives such a great performance. It's those things that outweigh those other things to me that probably will mean more to people who are bothered by those other things. So yeah, I enjoyed this very much. As I said, I saw this sort of as an odyssey for a kid, and I enjoyed that story. And I enjoyed the emotional core behind it and the message behind it more than the small things I was complaining about, at least small for me. So, if you're like me, then I'd recommend it, but you heard these guys right here and you heard the things that you might not, if you hear what they're saying and it makes you think that you might not like this, then hey, you got it. But for me, this is a high matinee. I really did like this. I thought there were just enough moments of good writing and very good acting in here to actually carry me through this movie. And yeah, like I said, you've been warned. And so, and this shit turns to a damn cartoon at the end,
Turn to the banana splits.
Yeah. Man, when this shit turns into train spotting at the end. You've been warned.
And for everybody thinking a boy Cillian Murphy in the movie, he's not in the movie, y'all. No, I heard he might be in in the later ones, but he's not in this movie.
No, he's not.
I got an Oscar, bitch.
It did have a really good score though.
Well, there's rumors that he could possibly return.
Yeah, they said in the third one he might return.
Yeah, he might, and some other characters from the first. So, so we'll see. Yeah, I agree with you though. I think that the best way to handle that and satisfy everybody if it had been
at their post credits.
Yeah. But then Danny Boyle says, I'm on tour, I'll do whatever. Or would you look at that? You made it to the end of the video. That means you really like us. So just go ahead and press that like button and subscribe while you're at it. And check out our other channels, our social media like Instagram, TikTok, and our Patreon where we have new stuff coming up all the time. And we'll see you on the next video.